Awesome. Now we're live. Welcome everybody to our first group graduation. It's a West time slot. We have a couple of starting places. As usual, I want to remind you of our community participation guideline and code of conduct. Be respectful to each other, and if at all you witness any unacceptable behavior, you can contact me or you or Berenice, or you can directly write us on team@openlifesite.org. So before we go ahead, we are in our 15th week, and in this process and in journey, if someone has been very helpful to your project, it could be your mentor, or for the mentors, it could be someone else. Please give them a shout out. It would be a very nice time for us to also involve people who are part of this journey without being directly involved with us. So today for our project presentation, we have Kiara. And Kiara will talk about what she has achieved in last 15 months and 15 weeks. And she will also tell us a little bit more about things that she has experienced as an open leader. So Kiara, it's your stage now.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share my screen. You should be able to see my presentation. Can you see it?
Looks good. Yeah.
Great. So hello, everyone. My name is Chiara Bertipaglia. I am the Scientific Program Manager of the Zuckerman Institute at Columbia University. This is a neuroscience institute, so our community is composed of neuroscience researchers that go from graduate students to postdocs to faculty members at diverse career stages. The team that I'm part of was established to build and nurture the community by fostering a professional environment that is welcoming, safer, diverse, and inclusive. And in order to support a collaborative climate of interdisciplinary research and discovery, we want to embrace transparency and openness. And we want to do that by start cultivating an environment of open science. So coming into this program, I expected to learn from leaders and experts in the field about evidence-based best practices in open science, so that I could take this knowledge and integrate it into an open science initiative for our community. So over the past 4 months, I have elaborated a strategy aimed at infusing a culture of open science within our community. So this strategy is an actual written document that I have written in GitHub. And I want to briefly highlight the 4 milestones of this strategy. So we want to start by assessing where we are now with our open science practices and policies. And I'll do this through a series of interviews with diverse community members. And this will be useful to identify critical stakeholders that can be supporters of our open science journey and engage them through open leadership best practices. And how we're going to do this. So the interviews of phase 1 will allow to create persona profiles. What is the attitude towards open science of an early career researcher versus a more senior faculty member? And how might this attitude change by neuroscience subfield? The interviews will also document success stories. And this will hopefully make it clear who among the community may become an active supporter of this open science initiative. Next, I want to identify the most effective programs that we should produce to disseminate open science best practices. And I've started compiling a series of successful examples from a number of open science initiatives happening in research institutes in Europe. I should say that this GitHub project is a collaborative project, so I do appreciate feedback. And if you have any comments or anything to add to any of these 4 points, you can get in touch with me, and I'll appreciate if you can give me any suggestions. So last but not least, I want to make this overall open science initiative sustainable in our community through distributed and shared leadership. I hope to empower contributors to become co-developers, even leaders of this open science initiative. And the vision for putting this strategy into action in the future is that in a culture of open science, our community of neuroscientists can hopefully thrive in a healthier, truly collaborative environment of openness and transparency that can lead to transformative science. My two biggest takeaways of this program, even if I didn't manage to do anything else other than just attending cohort calls and having conversations with people, is that I realized that everything that I've planned to do in this strategy document can and shall be done with an open leadership mindset and framework. Open by design really means that also the way in which you design an open science program has to be open and transparent. This is very meta and probably very obvious, but it wasn't to me, not until this point. And second, that buy-in from the leadership of the Institute is absolutely fundamental to start such a big institute-wide visionary project. So all of this, I've got it thanks to the incredible support of my mentor, Mateusz Kuzak, with whom I've met regularly every other week. He's introduced me to so many people who are leaders in the field, especially in Europe. So now I feel very enriched that I'm connected with just a new network of people that I didn't know before. And he has given me very punctual feedback on every piece of new document that I was producing throughout these months. Of course, yo, Malvika, and Berenice for putting together such a comprehensive open leadership mentor program. I can't stress enough how this is so much more than an open science program. I came in for the open science bit, and I didn't realize that I was gonna get so much more, such a bigger holistic takeaway in terms of open leadership that I'm definitely going to put in practice in my job. And of course, all the open seats, all the cohort members for the inspiring conversations and in the Zoom breakout rooms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chiara. That was wonderful. I should have asked you earlier, would you like to take some questions if at all people have? Yeah.
Yes.
Does someone want to ask some real questions, but polite ones to Chiara?
I have a quick question. How many people are in this institute? Like, how big is it?
It is about 150 graduate students, about 150 postdocs, and about 50 PIs, principal investigators or faculty members. So one challenge was indeed trying and understand what would be a good number of people of community members to interview in order to have like a good idea of what is our starting ground. So I think I put a number in the document, in the project development plan that is definitely open to reevaluation. But definitely what I want to make sure is that when I sample the people to interview, I definitely include an equal number of graduate students, postdocs, and faculty members. So I include a diverse population in terms of career stage, and also in terms of neuroscience subfield, because in the Institute we have a good number of people that do behavior studies, molecular biology studies, computer science. And so I can already imagine how their attitude and their openness to being open in science might depend also on that.
Yeah, it seems challenging working with that large group of people. Well, and also just, I mean, trying to make sure everyone's aware that you're there and what you're doing could be a little difficult. So
yeah, that's also a really good point. But I have to say that at least from that point of view, I'm starting from an advantaged situation, because I didn't mention the name of my office. It's called the Programs Office. Indeed, I'm the scientific program manager that takes care of the scientific programming, and also in a bit of an unofficial way, I'm a community manager. It's not exactly described like this in my job, but that's what I in the end do. And people know me as someone who basically takes care of them from the scientific perspective of career and professional development. So the types of programs that I run are for them to progress in their career. So at least they know what I do and the vision of our office.
Okay, good. Okay, so you already are doing that part.
Yeah, it's just that so far I wish we had inserted the concept of openness and open science in a more formal way. So we haven't done that yet, and I hope to use this document to obtain the buy-in from my boss and other people in the leadership to say we really need to start doing this more officially, more formally.
That sounds really cool. Thanks for presenting.
Thank you for your feedback.
That was going to be my follow-up as well, that have you used your position to casually talk about that you're thinking towards open science and wondering what people might be thinking about, but you said you've interviewed a lot of them and talking to them.
Yeah, I actually would like to respond a bit more about this. So yes, I have casually many times introduced the idea that we could invite certain speakers, that we could start a certain type of seminar series, that we could just, I don't know, start a certain type of initiative. But I think I wasn't able to make my case strongly enough, probably for two reasons. One of which I think I've definitely now solved by participating in this program. So one is that I myself wasn't super confident in utilizing the language. You know, what does open science actually mean? What does the rest of the terminology mean? Now I feel like I know what I'm talking about, and I can make more concrete examples. And for sure, when you're someone that is doing a sales speech, people can smell it if you're the first one that is not super comfortable and confident about the things you're saying. The second thing is, so far what I understood is that when I pitch new ideas, people really appreciate it if I have a very comprehensive plan at the back of this idea. So proposing to just invite one speaker as a standalone thing, or to start a seminar series as a standalone thing, would be seen as, yes, but what is the impact that we're actually going to do with that? It's very likely that it will not produce culture change. And when my boss was telling me this, I was really buying in her criticism. And the more I was participating in community calls with other community managers, the more I was understanding that for culture change, a really comprehensive plan is needed to be put in place. So in the strategy, this is not perfect. It's obviously a work in progress, but I really try to, that's a repetition of words, to synthesize everything that I've learned from different communities, the community engagement community, the open science community, and hopefully with the series of points, I'm going to hit the mark and say we can attempt at producing a culture change if we take this holistic approach. So in fact, if you notice, the title is not, I don't know, I mean, I'm not focusing specifically on preprints, on open publication, or on data sharing. I'm intentionally using the most generic word possible, open science, and I'm using the word culture. So I'm really hoping that people will start thinking and acting more openly, if we're successful with the strategy. Sorry, it was a really long explanation.
No, thank you so much. I'll be very curious to know how this goes from this point onwards, because now is your action stage, apparently. So I think we're ready for the graduation. So let's give Kiara a round of applause for all the amazing stuff she's done. We're just gonna pretty great. So this is your night, Kiara, or day, whatever you want to call it. But we do have some plans for keeping this conversation going. And we've planned a little bit more on the social aspect. So I think we can probably stop live streaming this part, but we can still keep recording.